begin, but I'm not sure that it's okay with sound. Please tell something about if you hear me or not. Is anybody here? Hi. I'm not sure that we can start right now because I didn't get the feedback about another users on this channel. Miloslav, LJ. Are you ready? Okay, great. Thank you. I'll start from the desktop demonstration. Nice to see you here on the first questions and answers session about beta test of iRidium 3.0, about iRidium server. Today we will answer to some popular questions. As Joachim, we have got your question about Unbox server, but I cannot discuss it today. You should have get the answer by email because Unbox server is ready only for distributors, and the documentation about it will be available in the middle of December. So today we discuss another important questions about iRidium server, trends, JavaScripting, databases, using of gate function on server, and so on. And now I can see 5 users on the channel. It's okay. Hello guys, are you ready to start? Please type plus in chat. Great. Okay, and our first question of the webinar will take after half an hour plus time for questions, so it will not be too long. And our first questions: what will change in GUI editor in iRidium 3.0? It's a big question because it is called iRidium Studio now, not GUI editor. You ask why? This is because you can create not only graphic user interfaces in 3.0, you can create the server projects also, and these projects have to be made in iRidium Studio application. You can see it on the desktop, I hope. You can see it? Guys, do you see my desktop with iRidium Studio? Okay, great. iRidium Studio consists of the windows you have seen in GUI editor, but it allows you to create not only the panel project, GUI project, but the server project also. The server project consists of 2 tabs, config and input/output. In the config tab, you can set the main properties of your server. Software, application, or hardware, it doesn't matter, but it is your server connected to the controlled equipment and control panels. And the second tab, input/output, consists of iRidium server part and the drivers part. And the drivers part, you can add the drivers supported by iRidium. It is the same as in the previous version, 2.2. You just add in the AV driver, Modbus driver, KNX driver, all of them, and control it from the server. iRidium control panels send the commands to server. to change some status of controlled equipment, and server resend this data to the equipment. So generally it works like iRidium Gate. You can send the data to server and it can change this data, modify it, and resend to equipment. The protocol, the communication protocol between iRidium server and iRidium client, an application on your phone or tablet, are called iRidium server protocol. It's a secured protocol with TCP transport. You can get more details about this protocol on Wiki, but generally in this driver you will not see any settings of KNX addresses, Modbus registers, and so on. You just see the full name of tag controlled by control panel, and you can change it. Some other changes made in iRidium Studio. For example, the script window now, not model. You can work with the script and you can copy something on the workspace at the same time. I know it was a problem before, but now it's very, very nice feature. When you made a project in iRidium server, for example, export KNX driver, Modbus, or made AV transport, you can make a panel project, GUI, based on the server project by the button Create Panel Project. Let's make it. And as a result, you will get the new panel project, empty project, but with the pre-configured iRidium server driver. It includes all the feedbacks, comments, driver tokens of the drivers, pre-set up, pre-configured in the server path. So when you need to control some AV tag, you send in the data to the server tag, and then it goes through the server to your equipment. About features, little but convenient features of panel project. Now you can drag the feedback in the empty field of panel project, on page or pop-up, and you'll see that the feedback automatically creates the button. This button will display the current state of related tag. You can see it in Relations tab. And the big feature of iRidium server is trends, linear trends you can set up here. It's a new type of graphical element. You can see the settings of this linear trend by double click. Here you can see the data range, color settings, the settings of curves, and the other things. We'll discuss this a little later. It's the main changes in iRidium Studio. Do you have any questions about it? If not, we'll continue. What is iRidium Store? How it works? I think you have heard about iRidium Store. It's like an app store, but inside of iRidium. You will be able to make your script driver or GUI interface, or just preset of items in your own style, and you will be able to sell it or share for free in iRidium Store. It just works like an app store. The final realization is not ready for today, but I think you will be able to test it in the first months of the next year. The next question, will all projects be supported? Yes, it will be supported, of course. You can convert the old project made in version 2.2 to 3.0 version. Let's convert some project. For example, Modbus project. Okay. Here is one of Modbus projects. Let's find the biggest one. I think it will be okay. Just add the project in GUI editor and it asks you, do you want to convert the version made in 2.2 to the new iRidium Studio format? Yes, I want to continue. And now you see the GUI part and the Modbus driver converted in 3.0. All the functions is supported. If you want to use this functionality with the server, you have to use the function create to project. This function divides the panel project onto two parts, server part and client part. You will see what happens if I convert this. Let's see on project device panel of divided GUI. Here was a Modbus driver. It means that control panel, for example, iPhone, connecting directly to some Modbus PLC and control it directly without any server. But now you can see in this tab iRidium server driver. This driver has a text of server inside of iRidium server project. And all the settings has been moved to iRidium server part. Now the Modbus driver is here in server project and the server driver is in the panel project. It means it works like a iRidium Gate software. Control panel connects to server, server connects to Modbus PLC and transferring the data from control panel to Modbus PLC. It solves a problem for which actual for Modbus PLCs when you cannot connect from more than 5, for example, control panels, and Modbus communication takes really many traffic and controller resources. It's not a problem for now because iRidium server makes just one connection between PLC and server part and then transfers the data from controller using iRidium server protocol to all the control panels. It is great. And you can also use the analog of site license. It's called server license. And you don't need different licenses for each control panels, how it was with the Modbus and many other systems which not support site licensing. Well, you will be able to use the panel projects as it was in version 2.2. It means you will be able to use the panel project without server, but you will be able also to convert the panel project to server project plus client part without any manual changes. It is great, I think. It's about capability. The next question. Do you have any questions, any comments about it? Please write in chat. Type minus if you don't have any questions. I'll visit you already here. Thank you. Okay, then next question. How will trends be displayed in the interface? It's an interesting question. I think we have about license of server. possible to talk more. For the moment, I don't have a final price about server license, but the main point of this license is you have one license file uploaded to the server, and you don't need the different separated licenses for each control panel. Server license takes some parameters. For example, the maximum number of control panels connected to the server, the maximum number of registers, data points, group addresses, variables in general, which can be used by control panels, and controlled equipment. If you use more variables, more control panels, more different automation systems on server, you have to pay more, but it will not be more expensive than the previous licensing system, as I know for a moment. But we don't have a final price, so I cannot share more details about it. Okay, let's start with trends. I just create a new project from zero, server project and panel project with trends. So you will be able to start from zero with trends. Let's make a new server project. In this project on server, we will create some variable stored in server database. Server supports SQL database, system database, which available only for reading, and user database. It will be your own databases, and you can store any your data into these bases. And we start from server project with one variable I want to store in database, and I show on the linear trend. I'll put the local host in the settings of server. It is needed for control panels. It's just a host will be used by control panel to connect to the server. Trends. What does a trends mean? It's a graphics. Inputs and outputs. I'll make a virtual variable I want to start in the database. The variable with the full name, server text, virtual1. This variable doesn't have any data inside, but we can write the value to this variable from some equipment, automation system, or I can add the value in this variable via the script. I'll do it in the script because it will work if you doesn't have an equipment. When I started my event, I'll make an interval function. Which will increase the current value of our variable each second. The function inc will send the value to our variable, virtual variable. Here set variable with the name server text virtual1 . It's a simple script. It will increase this tag each second. So it is ready, and we can send the project to iRidium server. I'll start iRidium server on my PC, on the local PC. Now it doesn't have any project uploaded. I'll send the created project in iRidium transfer. And from iRidium transfer, I can send the project to iRidium server. It is easy. From the list of servers, I choose my own PC and downloading starts. Please remember that you have to get the trial license, the demo license for beta testers for iRidium server. It will not work without license. You can send the request to get the license on our support portal. If you are already a beta tester of iRidium server, you know the link where to get the license for server. I see I made an error in script. So here it is. Uploading complete, and my script works right now. I cannot see the data in log. It is not very convenient. So let's make a log on the server side. And here you can see increased value by our virtual variable. This variable created in scripts, but you can see this variable on client side on your control panel like a normal variable, like a channel, feedback channel from your equipment. I think now we are ready to create a panel project to display this variable, the historical data and the current value of this variable on the trend, on the graphic. Press the right-click button on the server project and choose Create Panel Project based on this server project. It is done. You have an empty page and you have a server driver in this project, and you have a list of tags you create on server. We have only virtual1 variable. And one more thing, I didn't show you how to store the variable in database to get the historical data, to get the data for 1 hour, for 1 day, for 1 year, and so on. You have to open, you have to open the settings of variable, and you will see here the settings of storing in database. Persist, it's not very, it will not be clear if I just tell you what does it mean. It doesn't matter in general. So choose the storing in database settings. If you want to store the integer value, you have to choose signed 32-bit. It's a size of variable in database. If you want to store float value with numbers after dot, you have to choose float 64-bit. And if you want to store the strings in the database, some information with logs, errors, and something like that, you have to choose string UTF-8. We will choose the integer value signed 32-bit, and then we choose the type of saving in database. Dateband means that you save the data in base only if it changed more than this value. It means if the value of variable was 1 and then now it is 2, and if you set dateband 1, the change between 0 and 2 more than 1, and this new value will be stored in database. If you want to store the data in database, every 5 seconds or every second you have to choose store in interval. Okay, now it's done and we have to upload changes to our server. You can see the uploading and the server starts. Okay, it's done, the server works and we are ready to display our variable on the graphic. Let's make an item. Choose the type of item, linear trend. Choose the virtual tag 1 from server. Drag this on item and choose add a new curve. By the double click you can open the settings of trends. All the settings in details described on our forum about 3.0 version. We just choose the range of trend. I wanted to show the range by 1 minute. Just the changes for last 1 minute. When it is done, we can start the emulator and see the emulator starts. Nope. It is syncing. Okay, it's done. On this trend, you can see the line of variable virtual 1. You can change the range by time, you can change the range by value, and the current value of variable will be displayed here. If we restart the server, for example, I'll update the server project on server, the value on the trend will be, I forgot this word, will be decreased to 0, and then you will see the actual values. Waiting when the server restarting, and now you can see the value of our virtual variable created in JavaScript. If you made the same things and start the trend, but you cannot see this trend, it means you have to check your rendering system. For the moment, the linear trends can be showed only with OpenGL render, but for most part of our PCs, we use DirectX render. So press the button F8, the password 2007, and open the render tab. If you choose DirectX, you will not see the trend. If you choose OpenGL, you will see it. It will be okay. Save and exit and restart the app to see the trend on your control panel. You can also see the current value of this trend in the web interface. To open the web interface, just press W in the window of Server Console. The server automatically opens the browser and opens the page of the server. Here it is. It's the web interface of our server. Here you can make main settings of server, and here you can see the current status of comments and feedbacks in your project. For example, we have just one project, and you can see the current value of this variable, and you can see the trend in the web interface. It is not for end users for the moment, but it could be useful for you when you doesn't have a ready interface for control panel. You can just check how it looks in the web. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you, it's a modifying of variables. It's the next questions, how to calculate variable value on the server. If you want to multiply or divide or add some value to the variable before show it on control panel, you have to use a script, but it's a really simple script. It's very convenient to use it for server project. This script called modifiers. It's a web interface for integrators. It can't be used by end user for the moment. The end user will not have a web interface of GUI, if you mean that. It's only for settings and fast sending some data. For example, you have set up some KNX system or HDL system in server project, but haven't made a control panel project. You can open the web interface and send the data from the web interface to the variables of HDL. It will be easy for you to test how it works, how the comments work, how the comments works. And then you will be able to drag these variables to graphic user interface created in GUI in iRidium Studio. And I've started from calculating variables. I'll show you how to change the current value of some variable before you resend it to control panel. For example, you got the value 300 from Modbus PLC. This value means the temperature 30 degrees, and you have to divide it by 10 to see the normal value 30 in the interface. This function will be very easy to make, and I'll show you how to do it. I'll try to find a picture demonstrating the modifying of variables. Here it is. On this picture, you can see the sample of modifying, the sample of variable modifying between control panel and controlled equipment. If you want to send 100 from control panel, and if you want that this value will be sent to equipment like 255, you can modify the variable on side of iRidium server using the function JS modifier. It's converting the data received from control panel and then send it to channels of controlled equipment. And it can modify the feedback received from equipment to display it on control panel easily. The function modifying looks like this. It has an input parameters, but I will try to modify the virtual tag 1, which we have see on the graphic. Here in the settings of variable, of feedback channel, of tag, of virtual tag, you can see the script field. It's like a script call, but it's modifying function before sending to control panel. And you can relate the function, the script function with virtual tag in the settings of this tag. But we have to create this function first, function modifier. This function has 3 input parameters. Type of variable, it's a channel, command or feedback. The name of variable, it will be the full name, like this, server text virtual 1. And the input value of variable. And with the function return, we can modify the received value and send it to control panel with changes, with needed changes. For example, you can divide or multiply the variable. For example, I want to multiply by 10 and then receive the value. This construction means if the JavaScript send the value 10 in virtual tag 1, this script, this value 10 will be modified but function test before it will be sent to control panel. So it will be 100 in output, 10 in input, 100 in output. But I have to call it like this. Then script function 10 related with the tag virtual1 like a function modifier. And what we will see if I upload this project on control panel and start the client project to see the result. Now you can see that the graph incremented much faster than before. That's how it works. You can send the data, you can modify it, you can resend data between the different systems. It's like a gate between different systems. Could be set up in JavaScript. In future, we plan to make simple tools to create simple math functions like dividing, multiplying, plus or minus inside a variable, modifying functions with a simple interface for setup. And next question, simple question, how to check connection with equipment. If you add some driver in iRidium server project, you will see that it's easy to see the current status of controlled equipment. For example, I'm adding Modbus TCP driver, and I want to see the current online status of this driver in my panel project. If we say shortly, you will see the Modbus TCP tag online like any other tag of control panel on control panel, like virtual tags, like comments, feedbacks. You just see the driver tokens. I have to synchronize server project with the panel project to see the result. The easy way to sync the data between the projects is use the synchronize with source project function. It's just uploading all the updated variables here. And you can easily create the feedback channels to see the current status of Modbus driver. For the moment, the Modbus is not connected to the controlled PLC, so all the data in this field is 0. There is no data here. And the next question, how to replace gate with server? If you remember, iRidium Gate, it's a simple application, allows you to make one connection from multiple connections. It is useful for easy systems support no more than one connection at the same time. It means with the gate you can connect, for example, 5 control panels to the one global cache 100 device. You can connect more than 5 panels to the Intel device or some other device which doesn't support multiple connections. So, if you make, for example, global cache driver in iRidium server, and then make a panel project based on this server project, you can connect to the server from unlimited number of control panels, really unlimited number. It's only about license. If you have a limited license, so you can connect from unlimited number of control panels, but it is not physically limited generally. And I forgot what I wanted to say about it. So you can convert the project from version 2.2 project made for global cache and make a server project based on this GUI, and without any changes, without any manual operations, you will get a server project and a panel project. So you need just to install iRidium server on some PC like it was with Gate, and you will be able to control any equipment through the server, and you'll be able to work with database, your own database or system database. You can read more about these bases on our support portal. It is here. Just search by the keyword system database or personal database and you will get all the information about SQLite. And we have questions. This is one of the best features of the server, but we need to get almost all drivers in server version. You will get all the native drivers in server version, but it will be problems with the JavaScript drivers. JavaScript drivers made with JavaScript, and the JavaScript functions have an API for control panel. For example, if some variable of JavaScript driver related with the graphical item but not with some system tag, you cannot use it on server because iRidium server doesn't have an items. So you have to modify the JavaScript file to work with virtual variables. For example, if you want to display the weather from Yahoo website, I have a little demo with this functionality. Here it is. If you have some Yahoo module made for server, you should you should write the data which has been get by the weather module and write this data to the server virtual tags, and these tags will be available on control panel. So you have a JavaScript, Yahoo Weather JavaScript, that set in the data in the server variables. It's only one changes. We plan to convert all the JavaScript modules you can see on our website for the version 3.0, and you will be able to use these modules on the iRidium server or on control panels as it was. For example, if you get the JavaScript module from version 2.2 and use it on control panel, it will be okay. It is no problem with it. But if you want to install some JavaScript module for server, this module have to be modified for working with server. if it's clear. I'm currently trying to get Sonos and XBMC as server version. With Sonos and XBMC, it is not easy to say when it will be done. It's a big job to convert all the JavaScript modules for the server, but we have a big team for JavaScripting for the moment, and we plan to convert all our drivers with help of external integrators, external developers, or with help of our team. Thank you for that overview. This is the issue I faced at the moment. I have created a new driver for ELK-NES M1 security panel as a server driver, but I also need to get a working Kodi and Sonos driver so we can do real events. It's not easy to say how you can get the Kodi driver. We have it only for control panels in version 2.2. It's a JavaScript module by RodFusion. You can see it on our forum. Driver for Kodi. The Sonos driver will be updated for the next 2 months. I'm sure about it. You will not see the Sonos version for 3.0. We are working on the main functionality like a trends. It is not the final version of trends. It will be much more convenient in future in the next 2 months. But the JavaScript drivers doesn't have a high priority for the moment. So Kodi can be used only on control panel for the moment, like the previous versions. Okay. It would be great if you start the Kodi module from our forum in 3.0 and test it, because our testers is not working on it for the moment, as I know. There are many JS modules for Node.js. Which example work with Sonos? How hard would this be moved to server? Unfortunately, we don't have such examples. I have to know more about this. Can you please contact with us on forum and describe all the details, all the information about how you want to work with this module? And SAP driver is not supported by the server for the moment, but the other one already works. I can get a sample module. You mean you can make a sample module, or you need to get some sample? Okay, great. And I have another question. How much can the database grow? Can we truncate the database after X days or transform the data to a higher graduality? For the example, I keep 1 second sample for 24 hours only, keep 15 minutes sample for 1 month, and how was samples for 1 year? We have an instrument for optimization of database. It will work automatically, but if you want to know more about these instruments, about tools of optimization of database, you have to write on our forum, and we will share details. Okay, great. Do you have any other questions? Charles, iRidium supports SAP video for the moment in iRidium 2.2 as a beta. I can send you the simple project, and if it's okay with the sound, I think it will not be a problem with video from SAP client. Charles, I think I have you in Skype, so just write me and I send you a project. And thank you guys, it was great session, and I hope we'll make another one after a week, for example. Please send your questions about review of 3.0 version. iRidium server can work with SAP server as SAP server. For the moment, it cannot work as SAP server, but this feature is planned for the future. Not sure that it will be done in this year or in the next year, I mean, but it will be available. If you open the first webinar about iRidium server, open webinar with main points of working with iRidium server, you can see there's a list of changes, list of plans about server year by year. When the final price will be published? Unfortunately, I don't have this information. I am waiting for this information very big, but it is not ready. Final price is not ready, and we don't have any information yet how you will work with license files. It will include servers, so you will be able to upload the license without transfer. Yes, you cannot use it in real project. For the moment, it is not possible. We do not recommend use a beta version of server in the real projects. It's just a beta. And the main point why you shouldn't do it, I mean using real project, server API is not finalized. It means that some JavaScript functions can be changed when we test the server, so your project may be out of date in some moment. The beta testing period is not more than 2 months, but in this period we do not recommend you to use iRidium server as a real case in real projects. Is it possible to communicate between servers? Yes, it is possible. I think we will share the sample with the comments, with the needed comments a little bit later. Any other questions? Okay, if you don't have questions yet, please contact us by email or on forum, and we will answer to you. In France, how long the variable can be saved? This value is not limited generally, but let's see the maximum range. For the moment, it's just 30 days, but the size of database is not limited. It is limited only by the memory of your server, memory of your PC or on-box or logic machine device or something like that. All the limits of databases will be described on forum. If you send a request, please do it. I don't have all the technical details for the moment. So we have to share it as a discussion on forum. Yes, Susan. And thank you, Miloslav. And thank you, guys. If you have Raspberry Pi, you can save 32 gigabytes, for example. The data in database, the old data, will be optimized, and the optimized mechanisms should be discussed, I think, separated discussed. If you have a big project huge project with a big number of controlled equipment, it is better to use Windows-based server, for example, Nuke. Yes, Damian, it's a great choice. But if it's just a gateway between the system and control panel, you can use the simplest device with a little database, for example, global cache device. Yes, you can ask more questions. I'll stop the recording.